People no longer know how to talk to each other normally because of social media. It's as though you're talking to a 4-year-old sometimes when it comes to people.
My generation has a real problem with speaking to real people in real time, in real life. I have a friend who is a waiter at a restaurant, and he was telling me about how my generation, our generation, seemingly has a really hard time just.
Our generation has forgotten how to socialize and how to have basic common courtesy. I'm at the gas station right now paying for my gas, and the two people in front of me in line got asked by the guy at the register, "How was your Thanksgiving?" Both people.
We're creating a generation that talks nonstop online but freezes in real life. People are afraid to talk, make eye contact, or even say hi. This isn't shyness, it's a silent social collapse, and it's already affecting relationships, work, and the entire future of this generation.
People no longer know how to talk to each other normally because of social media. It's as though you're talking to a 4-year-old sometimes when it comes to people. People have suffered so much detrimentally to our social fabric that it's scary. We're living in an entire science experiment now because of social media. And I'm hoping at some point that the human species will be able to recover from this. But we are seeing the real effects of what social media does to people. And at the same time, there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of pros to social media. The connectivity amongst people is amazing. But besides that, we're also seeing the downfall of human civilization before our own eyes when it comes to being able to strike up a normal conversation amongst each other. And I'm hoping that I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. Let me know if there's anybody else who feels as though that social media has been a detriment to society, because I feel as though it is.
What he describes is real and scary. Basic conversation has become a rare skill. Social media trained our brains for fast stimulation, instant validation, and zero patience for other people. So, when a normal face-to-face conversation happens, people freeze like kids. It's not stupidity, it's conditioning. The criticism makes sense because connectivity became an illusion. Lots of interaction, very little connection. The solution isn't quitting social media, but relearning the basics. Listening, responding, disagreeing without losing control. If we don't, America's social fabric keeps tearing apart quietly.
My generation has a real problem with speaking to real people in real time, in real life. I have a friend who is a waiter at a restaurant, and he was telling me about how my generation, our generation, seemingly has a really hard time just having conversations with people in public, in real life, in real time, holding a conversation, even something as little as flagging their order for something that may be wrong with it. Our generation has a problem with speaking. And it's not even just like in restaurants, like even meeting certain people or conversating with certain people, whether you met them on a dating app or wherever the case may be, it's flat. It's flat. People don't know how to ask, inquiring questions. People don't know how to hold conversations. And it's like everyone seems to have a personality in the comment section of someone's TikTok, but God forbid you're talking to a real life human being, not behind a screen, and all of a sudden you have nothing to say. All of a sudden you don't know how to communicate. All of a sudden, I don't know. It's like you're mute. It's like we have a generation full of mutes, people who are loud behind the keyboard, but God forbid you have to be the same way in real life, in the flesh. And all of a sudden, no one has anything to say. All of a sudden, no one knows how to speak. All of a sudden, communication is just out the window. We got to work on that. We're starting to get a little bit too old for this. I don't know, lock it and clock it. Speak to a random person today. Speak to someone you don't know today. Try to hold a conversation for more than 20 minutes today, because it's like, guys, wrap it up.
This point is even more direct. The generation talks a lot online and disappears offline. That creates socially fragile adults who are scared to complain about a wrong order or start a simple conversation. The issue isn't shyness, it's bad training. Commenting on TikTok doesn't require empathy or improvisation. Real life does. This criticism is valid because it already affects work, dating, and even basic services. The solution starts with discomfort. Talking to strangers, messing up sentences, feeling awkward. Communication is a muscle. If you don't use it, it shrinks, and eventually you pay the price.
Our generation has forgotten how to socialize and how to have basic common courtesy. I'm at the gas station right now paying for my gas, and the two people in front of me in line got asked by the guy at the register, "How was your Thanksgiving?" Both people, head in their phones, looking down, go, "It was good, man, thanks," and they walk out, and the guy just looked like the most sad person on earth when nobody would give him the time of day. I get up to the front, he goes, "How was your Thanksgiving?" I go, "Hey man, it was really good. I hung out with my parents, had some good food." "How was your Thanksgiving?" When I asked him how his Thanksgiving was and gave him 3 seconds out of my day to ask him a question, he looked like the happiest guy in the world. I bet you every single person that went to the gas station today did not give this guy any attention or ask him how his Thanksgiving was. Where did we go wrong as a society to not even talk for 3 to 5 seconds to a stranger and make their day and have back and forth conversation? Humans are social creatures, and we thrive off of conversations and compliments and meeting people. I guarantee you, if you see someone today and they ask you a question at the gas station or at a store for Black Friday, if you just ask them a question back and care about their lives for even a minute, you're going to make their whole day. Put your phone down, give someone eye contact, ask somebody, "How was your day? How was your Thanksgiving? How are you doing?" It's the smallest little gesture. It takes 3 to 5 seconds and maybe 30 seconds of conversation, but you could literally make somebody's day all from that small interaction. Really not that hard.
This story shows the problem isn't lack of time, it's lack of attention. 3 seconds of basic humanity can change someone's day, yet people still choose the screen. It reveals a tired, distracted, emotionally disconnected society. The cashier didn't want friendship, just human acknowledgement. The criticism hits hard because it shows the social collapse isn't just among young people, it's everywhere. The response is simple but uncomfortable. Put the phone down, make eye contact, and remember people exist outside the algorithm. Small gestures still save days. And maybe us too.
Gen Z has a really big problem when it comes to being standoffish, odd, and overall extremely rude in a lot of social interactions and social settings. I don't even really need to explain this one with a bunch of stories because I'm sure you guys know what I mean, but just in case, I'm going to reflect on like my time at college. I went to Michigan State Big Ten University, okay? I made a ton of friends there. I think I had an amazing experience, but there were lots of times in classes, okay, like these are big classes, or some of them would be more major specific classes, where I would sit next to someone and try to strike up a conversation with them, by like, "Oh, I really like the stickers on your laptop, "Oh, I really like your hair, where'd you get your shoes from, whatever," just like trying to be friends. And they would look at me like, I'll imitate it. They would go, and then they'd kind of look around to see if like anyone was going to judge them for like having a social interaction. I don't know why people do that. It's not something I do, so I don't understand it. And then, maybe they talk to me and it'd be like a few short words and whatever. And then maybe like we end up exchanging Instagrams, but they unfollow you after a week, and it's like, why? Like, I'm not saying that everybody has to be best friends, okay? Sometimes it's just like a surface level connection and there's nothing more than that. But I'm talking like even like small talk, friends you just have in class, that is like non-existent. And I've seen a lot of videos from other creators who went to large like state schools who also dealt with this. So it's not just me. I mean, this isn't like a Michigan specific thing. I would say obviously in more urban areas, like we're talking LA, Chicago, Miami, New York, like people are just much more open, they're much more social, extroverted, whatever, cities just attract those type of people. But I think in a lot of Midwest areas especially, it's really bad because people, they grow up very isolated and maybe don't have the best social skills, and obviously technology plays into all of this. But it's like, I mean, one thing that I will give millennials is that like they will talk to you, like I'll be like, "Oh my God, I love your hair. Like, what'd you do to it?" And they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I used this dye and then I went to this hairdresser and I used this conditioner and I used these little scissors to cut my bangs," and like whatever. They're typically very socially engaging. Whereas the whole Gen Z stare thing that was a meme a while ago, I mean, that is real. Like you will talk to people and try to engage with them and try to form a relationship with them, or just for basic social interaction. Like I said, you don't have to be fucking besties with everyone, but like interacting with each other is normal. And that's not something that I see Gen Z do a lot. Like you will talk to people and they literally will be like, it's like, okay, guys, we have to get better at this, okay? And I'm saying we, like I'm not really including myself because I don't treat people like they're aliens when they talk to me, but this cannot continue. And especially as we make our way into the workplace and all of these corporate workplaces filled with older adults, you have to get better at that because that's not going to be acceptable.
Here's the key issue: social fear disguised as coldness. The Gen Z stare isn't a personality trait, it's collective insecurity. People act like socializing is weird or embarrassing, like someone is always judging them. That creates cold environments, especially in college and at work. The criticism is fair because the adult world doesn't work like that. Nobody hires, promotes, or trusts someone who can't exchange 2 sentences. Technology plays a role, but it's not the whole story. Isolation, anxiety, and lack of practice complete the picture. The truth is simple. Socializing isn't optional, it's survival.
I want to talk about the differences that I have noticed in teenagers today versus like 2015, 2016. I've talked about some of these things before on here, but I just want to share all the things that I have gathered so far. Before all the teens attack me, I know this is not all teenagers, but this is just what I have noticed being a teacher of teenagers versus when I was a teenager in 2015, 2016. Up first is a lot of them use school as their main source of like social interaction with one another. And I get it, like school is always and will probably always be a place where there's just social interaction. That's what you do and that's what you look forward to the most. But like we didn't stop there. That wasn't our source of interaction. Like I did not see a lot of my friends really like all throughout the school day. We would all go to a parking lot after school or just hang out in our cars or go like ride around. On the weekends, we would all go do things together. Like there was always something to do. I never wanted to go home when I was a teenager. I was barely at home. When I got my license, I'm riding around. I'm at the parking lots. I'm with my friends. I'm with them all the time. All we're doing is talking and hanging out and being teenagers. And at first I thought maybe it's because I'm in a different area. Like this isn't like a really tiny, small town. But no, I asked one of my old teachers from my small town. I was like, do kids still do those things here? And she was like, Gladys, no. She was like, a majority of them go home after school. Like, they don't do all that. They do not do any of the things that we were doing. I'm also talking about all these things right now because my students are doing social media research and I did like an example one on this exact thing. Differences I'm noticing in teenagers then versus teenagers now. The next thing, and I did my master's college work on this, but like I was trying to figure out why aren't students motivated anymore? Like why don't they want to do anything like ever? And a lot of my sophomores then, juniors now were like, we're tired. Like I'm tired. I'm so tired all the time. And like my kids now, every Friday I ask what's one good thing that's happened this week or something you're looking forward to. And so many of them just say sleep, sleep, sleep. I don't know what that's all. I have no idea. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if they're drained from like school, if they're drained because they're on their phones all the like I don't know. Like I know that I have bad ADHD, but I did not take naps in high school. That was like no. They're tired like all the time. A majority of them are tired all the time. Up next, going like right along with like everything I've said pretty much, I don't know what social events that like they do. Because I have a cousin, he's a junior in high school. We both grew up in the exact same town. When I was a junior, I could not, like my mom could not get me to stay home. She could not get me to stay home after school or on the weekends, period. Especially like on the weekends. And I'm like, he doesn't like, there's nothing for them to do. I don't know if they don't want to do it. Like I'm like confused. I don't know I'm just like, what do they do? What do they do? What do they do? What do they do? What do the teens do? I don't know. I'm editing and I want to add in one last thing because I always tell my students, I'm like, no shade, no tea every time I talk about this with them because I do not want them to think that like I'm being ugly because I love talking to my students about like whatever, especially things like this because it involves them. And sometimes at first they'll get offended, but then when we talk about it, they'll give me so many different insights and it really helps me try to understand like, what is this? And most teenagers, like they won't deny it. I mean, they'll be like, yeah, no, like there is something different. I don't know what it is either, but it is something. And it makes me really sad sometimes. So I think about like great songs or great movies about being a teenager and being young, and those all involve other people. It doesn't involve getting on TikTok or getting on Snapchat or getting on Instagram. Like it doesn't involve any of that. It involves being with people and creating memories. And yeah, you're a teen, so sometimes those memories are dumb. They're dumb memories you probably shouldn't be doing. But nevertheless, you're around people and you're creating memories. And again, like 2015, 2016, yeah, we were doing like teenage things, but I mean teenage things. Like I'm not even gonna get into all of the like spring break stuff because I will always defend teenagers to like other people who try to talk about teenagers, but I've been going to Panama City since I was a little girl. And again, like when we were in high school and we were on spring break, it was crazy doing teenage things, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean all of this crazy stuff. It feels like when I do hear about teenagers hanging out together, there's a darker element to it where it's like, what are y'all doing? Why do you think that's cool? Why do you want to be I don't know. And that was an issue and always will be an issue, but I feel like it's a huge issue right now that it wasn't this large and this like, whoa, what do y'all got going on? Again, no shade, no tea, love y'all to death, but yeah.
This testimony exposes something bigger. Adolescents lost the physical world. Before, school was just the start of the day. Now it's the end. Teens go home, to their rooms, to their screens, and that comes with a heavy emotional cost. constant exhaustion, lack of motivation, and no shared memories. This isn't laziness, it's mental burnout from cheap dopamine. The criticism hurts because it reveals a generation with no real-life stories to tell. The solution isn't empty nostalgia, it's creating real spaces to connect. Youth without real experiences turns into lost adults. Simple as that.